Well, guys, everybody that is here, what I'm kind of curious what you guys thought of this. It seemed a lot harder choice picking than I was expecting it to be. I figured you guys would be able to kind of run through this pretty quick, but it seemed like there was a lot of debate kind of going on between everybody.
Yeah, there's you talking about the factions or the bands or both?
I mean, all of it. Right now, I think any part of it, whatever suits your fancy you want to talk about.
Wow, there's just so many good champions in the game, right? And like, so one of the things we were debating about for the bans was like, okay, so should we ban like a more generally good champion in multiple areas or a champion that's just really, really good in their one area? We ended up going with the general, but there's a couple champions that we were talking about that like if they go with those champions for specific areas, it's going to be rough. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, we also talked about should we just like hard ban loads of champions from one faction and just like try and cripple a faction, which would have been a fun thing to do. just to make someone sweat a bit, which I think would have been quite cool. But
I was wondering if somebody was going to do that. Super wondering that.
Yeah, I thought they would do that to Demon for sure.
I felt like I did that a bit for Demon.
Well, the thing is, Demon has so many options. You're not even. Yeah. I was wondering about that. How much did you guys discuss actually trying to game the system, and so to speak, and like really push hard to exclude one place, or I don't know how you would go about doing it necessarily, but definitely I feel like there was openings for that.
Yeah, well, I think if we knew who was doing what area, so if we already knew, for example, who was doing the arena, then and what faction that was, I think you could be way more specific on a ban. But kind of have to look at it quite generalist. Like we picked out Calvalax because I thought, damn, Calvalax is just a speed running god. Like he can smash dungeons at level 20 like you wouldn't believe. So kind of felt like he had to be banned. But then someone like a Hedgie just wins you every arena fight. So he can't really stay in. It don't depend. But it might be that both of those are totally irrelevant bans. Right. So it might be that actually the person playing Night Revs isn't doing arena.
They were, yeah.
They were. They no longer are. That's great. No, I think that's a good point.
We got lucky. The only relevant ban for us was Seer. The rest they were pretty relevant because Warlord, YST doesn't have him. We don't have Calvalax. None of us. Nub doesn't have a Hegemon. I wasn't planning to use Mashald or Sifi. Sifi was a good bait, so I'm happy that they went for it.
Yeah, we were baiting hard with the bans.
Do you know what's funny here as well? I've actually pulled my C on this 2x voice that's on right now for the first ever time, so I don't even have it on the test server anyway. So that's just like 2 bans that I don't even need.
Wow!
You just got your gear. Congrats, man!
Full 5-head moves over here. I like it. All right.
Yeah, for us, it was quite tricky because like Scratch has nearly all the champs, so he can play nearly any faction. But for me and YST, I think we're quite limited. So
yeah, if I had barbarians, I would have nothing right now.
yeah.
I was still at the Drakes.
Take vibes. So
interesting. I have to say, I think the biggest surprise throughout in like the whole thing was when you guys chose orcs as your faction.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody really expected that because most of the time when we think of orcs, we think of Seer and we think of Warlord, both of which did get banned. But why was orcs your choice? And how do you see that really working out for you guys? Because there's some good factions still on the board there.
Bro, a YST needs to explain this. Because I'm at the same point like you. Like, why?
Yeah, it's a hard one without.
Okay, so with the orcs, when you said that we're gonna have the banning phase and all that stuff, I knew in my head I don't have a warlord and I don't have a seer at the time of this test server, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew automatically with the 2 bans it's gonna be seer and warlord, which leaves me with the rest of the faction 100%. And I think that there's loads of strong candidates for stage 25 or stage 20 in particular. Like we've got Kreela, we've got Grohawk the Bloodied, we've got who else we got? Iron Brago. There's so many champions in this faction that can nuke down stage 20 pretty fast, to be honest. So I think it's a bit of a sleeper faction, in my opinion.
Okay.
So yeah.
Interesting.
It's interesting. We put a list of factions we definitely did not want to pick. And Orcs was definitely, it was well in that list. Orcs was like, if we end up with Orcs, it's done deal. We're done already. So I'll be interested to see what you do with them, because it is, Zardiala's good, and you mentioned a few, but it feels weak compared to some others. I'm surprised Barbs didn't get picked. Actually.
Yeah. Were there any other factions? I mean, obviously, Barbarians was definitely one I think people had on their minds as a faction that could get chosen. Was there any others here that got that weren't chosen that you guys are surprised about? Like, I know a couple people said Lizardmen. They were expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which ones
honestly, I
wasn't picked?
thought that maybe somebody was getting that lizard menu.
Which ones wasn't picked, sorry? Because I wasn't here at that point, so I'm just trying to have a quick look. So there's no lizards, no barbarians.
No Bannerlords, no barbarians.
Oh, no Bannerlords. That's a weird one. Bannerlords is huge.
Bannerlords has a lot of champions available to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
a
I
lot of
thought that would be
flexibility.
nice.
Yeah, but like if you look around at the Bannerlords, like
There's not much damage.
I
think
I don't see
Bulge.
I don't see an AoE HP burn. I mean, I know his Septimus Baron in there.
Yeah,
Because
I
it's
feel like
definitely-
Bannerlords were weak in comparison.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
so.
Septimus gets banned and you're in
for
trouble.
sure.
Yeah, and it's game over there. Like you get Septimus banned, maybe a Stag Knight, and you're gonna be like, oh shit, why have I picked this?
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to give big shout out to Farbsoft and Bront Cat Herder for rating in here. Thank you guys. We just concluded the draft portion of this. We're kind of having a discussion about some of the selections and choices that were and were not made. Yeah, that's a good point though. You guys are saying about once you factor in who's getting excluded, it really changes the whole landscape of which faction is a viable faction for things. Which I think is kind of interesting.
You've also got to think as well, like that there's champions in the game which are really good. I mean, maybe Sifu was a poor ban because there's champions that are really good, but they don't really push speedrunning. So like Duchess, for example, is a crazy champion, but Duchess versus Kaima, well, Kaima is going to get speedrunning all day long. Duchess will actually slow your runs down. So it's quite hard on the ban phase around what do you want to do? What are you trying to stop them from being able to do?
True.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting one actually. I actually would have liked more bans because it starts to really push people's rosters.
Mm-hmm. I'll be honest. I kind of wish we had more bands too. After doing this,
I think it would have been cool. Actually,
You enjoyed
double
it.
the number of bands would have been good. Actually,
yeah. I mean, it's one of those things you never really know how these. This is like for me, it's like testing a champion. I never really know how good they are until I actually get in there and test them. And doing these kind of things, these kind of events, you never really know how it's going to play out or what's important until you really get in there and do it. It's the same thing with the clan boss draft, and it's kind of the same here where once you actually start seeing it in front of you, you go, oh yeah, we're excluding these champions, and I'm thinking, oh, that's really going to affect things. But there's so many champions in this game and so many that can do really unique things that having a few extra ban phases, I think, would have made it a little bit more, challenge you guys a bit more. It's just kind of the point of this, right? I think one of the things that makes this interesting is, and I think that people want to see is you guys struggling. They want to see us having to be creative and come up with, unique ways, or even just failing. It's really interesting to watch that happen, and I think pushing it a little bit further with like some more bands, for example, would have been an interesting. I think that would have been interesting. But setting this up, I kept looking at the limitations, not at like necessarily all the options too. So it's kind of hard to planning it was a little bit hard to balance. But yeah, YST, you're saying something?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's hard to balance the kind of banning phase because if you look at the dwarfs, there's like 50% of what's in like the demon spawn or something like that. It's so hard. And who got demon spawn?
Hades.
The goats did.
The mist.
It was the first pick.
Yeah, that was the first pick.
Yeah, we got lucky. We had the first pick.
Listen, I can't lose to Hades twice in a row. It's not happening.
There was actually an interesting thing. I know. I think it was SN or who was it? CSI? No, SNY. You guys, when you made your bands with the GOAT team, you guys focused on two big DPS champions in Ethos and Hefrak. That was not something I had expected. I would have expected more utility champions, right? That kind of enable other things. How effective do you think that's going to be as far as limiting what they can do?
on Scratch.
Well, on Demon Spawns, how Hades said, you take out Duchess, but yeah, Duchess is gonna be great in some places, but she's not great all around, you know. So
Right.
speed run. That's why I actually ask you to clarify how the pointing system is gonna work. Is about the speed runs or is about something else, you know? So here they have 3 different champions that do HP burn, you know. So
Yes.
it's gonna be irrelevant to focus on knocking those ones out when they can easily replace them. And the next best thing that they have around there is avoid Affinity Champion or Magic, sorry, not Void, that is gonna wreck the waves, one shot the waves, and move over to the next one without having another champion to help him out, you know. So that new champion was actually pretty dangerous on the list. That was actually Nab's choice there, but definitely made sense in why we would want to remove that champion, you know.
And also, like, there's a major difference here. We're running level 20 stuff. Level 20 stuff, you can blow up the waves. Like, you don't need Seer. You don't need any of these kind of like crazy poison exploders. You can blow them up just with hits.
That's accurate.
So, you know, Ethos can blow up a wave. Ephraim definitely would be able to. Trunder would have been able to. Like, they're champions that could just come in and make light of any content, really. So you kind of, you've almost got to get rid of them if you're trying to slow people down.
Makes sense.
100%. Yeah.
It surprised me, but I think it was good. Yeah.
There was a really good suggestion when we were talking about bans. Scornface said should be a number of bans for legendaries and then separate bans for epics. I thought that was a really interesting idea.
Sure. It's not a bad idea at all. Look, I would like to have a whole lot more bans, but you know, I also want to make sure that we can actually complete everything this first time through. So, you know, just like with the clan boss draft where we didn't implement any bans, it leaves that as an option open in the future. But yeah, absolutely, that could be a possibility. There's a lot of flexibility when, you know, doing an event like this. So, but for the first one, I'm glad we're able to, you know, kind of limit it, but not too crazy. Leave most of these things open, and you know, people can start thinking about the strategy behind it, which I think is rather fascinating myself. Now, I have to ask because I was surprised nobody banned Brogni, who seemed like there are a couple champions that weren't banned that I was surprised by. Like, you know, there's Brogni. There's the Poison Explosion champions weren't banned, which I was surprised by.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brogni was on our list, but it was a toss-up between him and Geo.
I think choosing a Brogni is literally in this challenge anyway. The only place it's gonna help is gonna be that Hydra boss, and we've got Nub Kex, so we don't have to worry about that.
We'll see, man.
Got Nub Kex. No pressure. Hydra cheat already.
Yeah.
But don't forget as well, these poison exploders, they don't have their setup in their faction. Like, Elenara doesn't have a mass poison champ. In fact, really no poison champions in that faction to help her out. Yeah. And kind of similar with Xavier, really. She doesn't have like the easy access. Yeah, Kale. Yeah, Dark Kale, actually. Yeah, actually. Damn.
Yeah, so
wait a minute.
Our bands, we were like, wait a second.
Can we change one of our bands?
Yeah. we forgot about that one.
Oh, crap. Dark Kales are looking juicy, aren't they?
Yeah, Dark Kales is, I think, I was going to say, out of all of the factions, Deadwood, this is to you while you're sitting there. Which one do you think is the strongest faction? Like, if you could have one?
Oh, Demon Spawn, I think, is hands down the strongest out of all the factions.
Yeah.
I actually, looking at this, I think Dark Elves might be the strongest faction.
Dark Elves is huge for dungeons, I'd say, 100%. There's loads of options in there to quick farm that.
But, sure, but I mean, I think also, you know, like I think we were saying, like the difference between stage 25 and stage 20 is pretty massive too. And you know, Demon Spawn has a lot of options still to wipe through it. You still have champions like you have Kymar there to reset things. You've got Sissy with that extra burn, and I know both of those two were banned. But the point is, like, as a faction, seems like a very strong option.
Does anyone want to give me some orc tips?
Don't pick orcs.
The best orc tip: don't pick orcs.
Well, it's a women ban.
If you have that guy from the Doom Tower, he's okay. He might do some work for you. The hard Doom Tower guy that came out, I can't remember his name, but he was pretty good. But yeah, that's a tough one. You know, and it's also interesting. Like, I feel like the more legendaries have such an outsized impact when it comes to factions, because they can really up the effectiveness of some of these, right? Like you guys are talking about, Dark Elves, they have really good epic champions, which I think makes a huge difference. Sacred Order has some of the best epic champions in this game. And actually might have been, number 2 on my list, to be honest with you. But, that makes a big difference versus the legendaries, which can really, obviously can ratchet things up quite a bit for you. I'm shocked that Allure was not taken out of the contest. Like, shocked. I'm like, oh, that makes a pretty big difference.
For me, I think personally, I'd say
she's weak affinity as well, huh?
Yeah, so with Allure, because you said it's going to be a live stream, so we get one run, that's it. We don't get loads of retakes, yeah? So I was just thinking she's the wrong affinity, and also we're hitting stage 20, not 25. So I don't think the difference is going to be as big as you may think, personally. I think we'll be able to keep that turn meter down without an Allure for stage 20, with our gear anyway.
That could, I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah.
Stage 20 is, the other thing too, like everybody should know, like we have access to all of our gear. So while we're going to have a player power limit, it's still probably not, it's like for a stage 20 dungeon run, it's still going to be pretty crazy. I would imagine the gearing process goes here. So, we could see some pretty wild teams. I'm actually pretty excited to see how that goes with all you guys.
It's gonna be fun, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to get laughed at again.
I love the ethos ban. That's gonna cripple me. I'm telling you. I don't have him.
Not. That's the other part, right? Like who has what? Maybe next time we'll do.
MTG, is Ethos not your favorite character? Was that an Ifwi?
Yeah, no, Ethos. I love Ethos.
Ethos, right? Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, but I started a new account, so I don't have.
Oh yeah, I thought about that.
I have multiple Ethos on my original account, and he was my dude. But now it's Leo all the way.
Leo's pretty good.
So what do you have from the high elves? The Liana,
Leo's not gonna masquerade as an elf.
Yeah, I have almost all the high elves, but I don't know if that's gonna help because that Royal Guard ban was so harsh. With all the I figured instead of Royal Guard that was gonna be Allure or somebody else from Demon Spawn there. I didn't think you guys were gonna take anybody out of high elves.
Yeah. The Royal Guard was definitely on our list.
Royal Guard is just, you can't, no one can match what he does, man.
I'm just surprised that nobody thought about Husk, man. Husk is the only enemy max HP in play here. And
on level 20, he's not that great though, right?
I think Husk is amazing. At least for stage 20, he's going to be dropping some nukes. I'll tell you that much.
You got to prove that to me. Prove it.
We got this. That's in white.
I love it. Well, okay, guys, I think that's a pretty awesome conversation. If anybody has any last points you want to bring out here, any challenges you want to throw down or anything, now's the time.
Dead was just trying to stir the pot.
I am.
I can't even think of no fighting talk right now. Hades, you're going down.
No, you're going down.
Maximum nothing. Maximum nothing.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh god,
you still one up there.
Great smack talk, guys. I'm really impressed with that. I know that just got the crowd hyped. They're ready to go with that kind of thing. So I think we're gonna call it there. Again, thank you guys all for participating. I really do appreciate this. Thank you all for coming by and stopping by. And we'll be back in 2 days here on Twitch. So stay tuned. We try to put out little announcements on Twitter whenever I go live, and I have it on my Discord. So if you guys aren't link in there so you can figure out when these go up, and obviously you can follow it on the website as well, so you'll see the times and dates for all those events. This should be exciting. We'll have this on YouTube tomorrow and people can see it and start getting hyped. I'm stoked, guys. I'm really excited about this. This was a blast to do, and thanks again for stopping by. So guys, till next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi. We have Hell Hades, Layla, MTG Jedi, Smiley, Cold Brew, Ivy League Gaming, Nubkex, Scratch, and YST here as well. Make sure to go give them some love too. All right, guys, take care.